most successful leaders and coaches of all time is Coach John Wooden. John Wooden is best known for his success on the basketball court, inspirational quotes, and his leadership philosophies, which he called the Pyramid of Success. John Wooden was born in Indiana in 1910. He was married for 53 years to his wife, Nell. He played basketball at Purdue University and was the first basketball player to be named a 3-time All-American. During World War II, he served in the Navy. After the war, he played basketball professionally and worked as a high school coach and teacher. One of my favorite quotes of John Wooden is, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you need a team." In 1948, John Wooden took over as head basketball coach at UCLA, where he coached until 1975. He was one of the most successful coaches in all of U.S. history. He led the Bruins to a record 10 national NCAA championships in 12 years. From 1967 to 1973, he won 7 consecutive national championships and had an 88-game winning streak. He was the first player to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, both as a player in 1960 and coach in 1973. Although he was very successful on the basketball court, his greatest success may have been his ability to pass on leadership skills and develop leaders. Wooden had a servant style of leadership. He was successful because he put others first and he helped each athlete he coached become a better person. In an article in the International Journal of Sports about servant leadership, Simon Jenkins stated that Wooden had a holistic concern for his players' well-being, and he was an example in virtuous behavior, which earned the respect of his players. Jenkins goes on to say that Wooden's pyramid of success can be understood in terms of virtue ethics. Wooden spent decades identifying characteristics and traits that he felt defined a successful person. He narrowed this list down to what he felt was the 25 most important behaviors. This was the roadmap he used when he coached, and he reminded his players what they needed to do to be successful on and off the court and become leaders in life. The top of Wooden's pyramid is called competitive greatness, which Wooden called being able to perform at your best when your best is required, and your best is required each day. He went on to list 12 lessons of leadership he felt was vital, and during basketball practices he taught his players not only basketball skills, but also taught them characteristics of success and lessons on leadership. Looking at these 12 leadership lessons, you can see that they line up with the 5 practices outlined in the book, The Leadership Challenge. For example, Wooden's Lesson 1, Good Values Attract Good People, Define Your Vision, lines up with Model the Way and Inspire a Shared Vision. Lesson 2, Love is the most powerful 4-letter word, lines up with Encourage the Heart. And Wooden's Lessons 3, Call Yourself a Teacher, and Lesson 9, Make Greatness Attainable by All, lines up with Enabling Others to Act. Lesson 6, Little Things Make Big Things Happen, Experiment, is basically challenge the process. Wooden believed that being a good leader also required growing, adapting, and improving along the way. In a journal article written by Bradley Emerling on John Wooden's coaching style, Emerling quoted Wooden as saying, "We haven't taught until they've learned." Other examples of Wooden following the 5 leadership principles include this one, modeling the way. Wooden stated that the most powerful leadership tool you have is your own personal example. He felt it was important to be vulnerable and willing to model correct ways to respond to success and failures, thus modeling the way for others to follow. Wooden also inspired others to act. He is quoted as saying, "Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming." His pyramid for success and 12 lessons in leadership, he shared parts with in every practice. His coaching style challenged the process. Unlike other coaches, Wooden never talked about winning with his team. He never studied other teams or went over how to prepare for a certain opponent. But he was known as a process coach because he focused on the process, not the game. He focused on each of his 12 players' needs and worked to improve them individually every day. Again, he stressed the success principles to his players and incorporated this into every practice. Wooden also enabled others to act. His pyramid for success enabled others to learn and grow into leaders. He would often tell his players, "Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do." Finally, Wooden encouraged his players' heart. In the book, They Call Me Coach, Wooden talks about how important it was to love his players. He emphasized that he had to show the players that he had their best interest at heart and encouraged them to become the very best person they could be. He stated that the work that you do each and every day is the only true way to improve and prepare yourself for what is to come. You cannot change the past, but you can influence the future, starting with what you do today. John Wooden died in 2010, but his legacy lives on with the leadership principles and lessons he developed from decades of teaching and coaching.